Ghana are traded into Burkina Faso, and agricultural products from Burkina Faso, Niger, onions, tomatoes are traded into Ghana. Recently, some traders from Ghana went to Burkina Faso to buy tomatoes, and they were ambushed in a village where they were transacting, and armed insurgents, terrorist armed groups attacked, and unfortunately, we lost a number of our compatriots. Happily, there are few survivors, and so the Ghana Army is arranging to medevac them from Burkina Faso so that those who are injured can continue to receive treatment here in Ghana. And so on behalf of government and people, we express our condolences to the families of those who were either killed or have been injured.
President John Mahama has relaunched the tree crop diversification project, accelerating its implementation with $200 million in World Bank support. He explained that the government tree crop strategy is designed to promote economic growth while advancing ecological transformation. The announcement was made at the Tree Crop Investment Summit and exhibition in Accra. We'll bring you that story later, but we move on to another story on cocoa, where President John Mahama says the decline in global cocoa prices underscores the urgent need for Ghana to process more of its cocoa locally to aid value and protect farmers' income. Identifying himself as a cocoa farmer, the president noted that he is equally impacted by the drop in producer prices, reinforcing the importance of strengthening local processing of stabilized earnings.
Recently, we've had a crisis with cocoa. It hasn't affected only Ghana. It's affected all cocoa-producing countries. And it shows how unstable raw material exports are if you don't process and add value. And that means that we must take advantage of this crisis to make a pivotal change in how we handle our raw exports. And we've exported raw beans since Gordon Gaggisberg's time. For those of you who don't know Gordon Gaggisberg, he was one of the colonial governors. And Ghana, at that time, was the leading exporter of cocoa. And to think that in the 21st century, we're still the largest leading exporter of raw cocoa beans, that is not an accolade we should take pride in. We should take pride in being the leading exporter of manufactured cocoa products. And so this crisis must mark a turning point in our cocoa industry. As I explained when I spoke in Addis, so in whatever geographical area of the country you are, if it's in the north, a shea nut plantation, if it's in Brongahafu area, cashew, if you're in western region, rubber, cocoa, and if you're in Dodoa area and other places, mango. And so all of us must take an interest in the agricultural sector, and especially in tree crops. I want to thank Nana Kwebu Ewusi. Andy referred to my own tree crop farm. Nana Kwebu Ewusi gave me 50 acres of land, and I planted cocoa on the 50 acres. So I'm a cocoa farmer. And so when the price was reduced by government, it affects me too. I want to be able to empathize with farmers so that when we take any policy decision, we know that it has an effect on farmers and we feel it ourselves. If there's no fertilizer, if the price of fertilizer is expensive, I feel it myself because I also buy fertilizer.
The Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has underscored the strategic importance of Ghana-China cooperation, hailing the role of the Sono Asogli Power Station in Ghana's electricity supply stability. The Vice President made the remarks during the 2026 Sono Asogli Chinese New Year celebration at Bonn. The Chinese Spring Festival is a 15-day celebration that involves family reunion and cultural rituals.
The Sonon Asogli Thermal Power Station at Bung, near Tema, has for years remained a pillar of Ghana's power generation mix, supplying a significant amount of power to the national grid during periods of energy shortfall. Addressing guests at the Spring Festival, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, said reliable and affordable power is attractive to investment and enhances long-term economic resilience. She noted that Ghana's partnership with China continues to evolve beyond infrastructure into a wider cooperation rooted in mutual respect and shared development priorities.
Sonon Asogli has played a significant role in Ghana's power sector as one of the earliest independent power producers with nearly 2 decades of operation. During periods of stress in the power sector, it was Sonon Asogli who agreed to concessions, including waivers to idle capacity charges and discounts on legacy arrears, which helped to ease short-term pressures on the sector.
Co-founder of the Sonon Asogli Power, Togbi Apede, outlined the company's plans to expand capacity through solar, wind and third-phase thermal projects, which would position Ghana as a power exporter in the sub-region.
In addition to the 560 megawatts that Asogli Power delivers onto the grid, Asogli Power is also planning up to 400 megawatts in solar and wind, and also another 850 megawatts of third-phase thermal power project.
The event blended business with culture, reinforcing growing economic and people-to-people ties between Ghana and China as both countries look ahead to deeper energy cooperation.
We move to the Bono East, where the police have killed one suspected armed robber and seized a number of weapons and ammunition after a shootout in Doma in the Bono region.
Addressing journalists, the Bono Regional Commander, DCOP Joshua Copson, said they got wind of plans by an armed robbery gang to attack traders plying the Doma in Kro Gonokrom Road. They then dispatched a team to the area who engaged in a shootout with the suspected robbers, leading to the killing of one of them and seizure of a cache of weapons.
In the early hours of 12 February 2026, officers advancing near a parked motorbike came under gunfire from nearby bushes. Police returned fire, and a search at daybreak found one male suspect dead with an AK-47 rifle beside him. A further search led to the recovery of a sack containing additional weapons and ammunition, including 2 Baikal single-barrel guns, a pump-action gun, 1 Beretta pistol loaded with 3 rounds of 9mm ammunition, plus 34 rounds of 9mm ammunition.
Regional Police Command also said the Brekum-Sampa Highway is safe for now, but called for more information from the public, emphasizing that such criminals move from place to place.
The most important thing is we being able to get the information. You and I know when the policeman is standing, no criminal will act. You understand? You wait for the policeman to leave the police. So then that is where you, the civilian, you come in.
Back here in Accra and in Parliament, the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry has disclosed that the Commander Sugar Factory has been disconnected from the national electricity grid and had its water supply cut due to unpaid utility bills. Answering questions on the Parliament today, the Sector Minister, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, explained that the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, and the Ghana Water took the decision after the factory failed to settle outstanding debts. The minister further disclosed that government has engaged a transaction advisor to help secure a strategic investor to revitalize and operationalize the facility.
Operational deficiencies have prevented the factory from running at full capacity. The machinery and equipment of the factory have not been refurbished since construction in 2016. Equipment, generators, and motors need maintenance, and boiler top hull needs replacement to bring the factory back to life. Moreover, the factory has been disconnected from the National Grid by Electricity Company of Ghana and water supply by Ghana Water Company Limited due to unpaid bills. Added to the poor state of the equipment, the facility has accumulated significant debts. Further, operationalization of the factory has also been hindered by lack of raw materials. The farming community, which was expected to anchor the raw material supply, remains disengaged due to lack of institutional support and unclear procurement channels. The ministry has prioritized the engagement of a transactional advisor to package the factory and secure a strategic investor to operationalize the factory and farms in the 2026 budget.
Still in Parliament, the House has officially taken the first step towards reconsidering the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025, widely known as the Anti-LGBTQ Bill. After the bill's first reading, the Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Alban Bagbin, referred the bill to the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee for detailed scrutiny and report. On the floor of the House today, led sponsor John Intim Fojo, who is also the MP for Asen South, he described the proposed legislation as a bipartisan private members' bill and urged colleagues to fast-track its consideration before Parliament rises. The bill, backed by 10 members of Parliament from both the majority and minority side, seeks to criminalize activities related to lesbianism, gay, bisexual, and transgender persons.
It is the expectation of the sponsors, which is bipartisan. It is a bipartisan private members bill which must be on record. And the expectation is that within this meeting, this Honorable House and all relevant committees will attach alacrity to this bill to pass it with urgency, as a matter of urgency, before this House rises, because it is not a new bill. It is an old bill which has gone through all the processes, consultations, and already survived plethora of legal and dissenting opinions.
If we want to go partisan on this bill, it will be a problem. So it is important from the beginning that the bipartisanship is reflected at every stage, indicating our support and commitment to the passage of this bill, a commitment that we know will go up to the signing the bill. Because the other time, the commitment went and then it stopped at the gate of the Flagstaff House. This time to go into the Flagstaff House and we will sign it.
Away from Parliament, the University of Cape Coast has announced the establishment of Africa Ocean Institute on its campus to help strengthen Ghana's ability to sustainably manage its oceans and coastal resources. Making the announcement, the acting Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dennis Wolanyo Aheto, noted that the institute would advance national research into marine and coastal environment.
The economies of most African nations, including Ghana, are largely supported by maritime activities. Africa's coastal and marine spaces are central to the continent's development prospects as they contribute to food security and livelihoods, trade and biodiversity. Unfortunately, Africa's oceans and their resources face growing pressures from climate change, overfishing, pollution, habitat degradation, and weak integration between science, policy, and practice. The African Ocean Institute, which is under the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences, has been established to respond to these challenges by providing a coherent and interdisciplinary platform that seeks to connect research, capacity building, and policy engagement with development priorities related to our marine resources. The acting vice-chancellor of the university, Professor Dennis Walanyo Ahetu, described the development as a major step in a process to strengthen Ghana's leadership in ocean and coastal knowledge, governance, and sustainable development in Africa.
The Africa Ocean Institute, under the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences, has been established to respond to challenges by providing a coherent and interdisciplinary platform that seeks to connect research, capacity building, and policy engagement with development priorities related to our marine resources. The AOI will therefore serve as both a national and a continental hub for ocean research, policy, governance, and training to contribute to the development of Mother Ghana and the continent of Africa as a whole.
The head of Fisheries and Aquatic Science Department of the university, Professor Joseph Agrifin, spoke about the opportunities that the establishment of the institute presents.
The opportunities are enormous. We want to also promote aquaculture. Aquaculture is about what? Water. We don't rely on the capture fishery so that we can reduce the pressure on the capture fishery. We all know that the small pelagics are reducing. And it's for a reason. And it's for a reason that these illegalities at IUU are becoming very rampant.
A number of farmers have undergone training in modern technology for food production at the Crop Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research at FEMISUA. The participants, who included extension officers and staff of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, were also trained in seed production.
The training of youth in modern agriculture and seed growers on good agronomic practices was organized by the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR. The training focused mainly on rapid multiplication of cassava planting materials. The participants were also trained in modern ways of producing soybean, cowpea, yam, maize, and rice. The director of Crops Research Institute, Professor Maxwell Asante, explained why the call on researchers to concentrate attention on modernizing agriculture.
The technologies are mainly about root and tubers. We feel this will eventually improve productivity in farmers' fields.
A senior research scientist at the Crops Research Institute, Professor Emmanuel Utu, said thousands of farmers in the sub-region are expected to benefit from the program.
The population is growing. Our farming population too will be growing, and equipped with better tools, they can produce enough to export. So invariably, we will benefit from such a training.
Two of the participants spoke to GBC News.
Farming is a business. So when you are doing business, you have to do it properly so that you get profit.
Yeah, farmers group. I train them. I try to say the basic year by Reno. Nienya na more. Tia nunti na mama ba training the abuwa men no.
Back here in Accra, the second edition of the Accra Ramadan Silk has opened at the National Mosque, bringing together entrepreneurs, families, and members of the Muslim community to foster business growth in the leading up to Ramadan.
The event, held under the theme From Souk to Success, Daring and Defining Impact, blended commerce, networking, and family-oriented activities. Highlights included product exhibitions, a Kate arena, a photo booth, and a business summit aimed at empowering entrepreneurs and encouraging innovation within the community as Ramadan approaches. The organizer of the event, Najati Yakubu, explained that the initiative was designed to provide a platform for small and medium-scale businesses to expand their visibility and tap into the economic opportunities associated with the Ramadan season.
It's a pre-Ramadan festival, so it happens once every year where we have people who sell Ramadan essentials come and display their items and sell them in discounted prices.
Participants describe the platform as both timely and beneficial, noting that the souk offers direct access to customers while helping the business build networks that could extend beyond the Ramadan period. They expressed optimism that the exposure gained from the event will translate into sustained growth for their enterprises.
Our chicken is very delicious. We are using the Accra Ramadan Souk platform to launch the business.
This one is called Sandal Bangay. We have sandalwood, we have sandal balls, we have Z exclusive.
We have cosmetics, oil, perfume, spray, and then kaya mat, and we do facials and then full body treatments.
So in anticipation of the holy month of fasting, the National Mosque of Ghana has introduced the Mahaba Ramadan program. This is designed to prepare the faithfuls not only for the discipline of Ramadan, but also for the enduring purity expected beyond the season.
The Mahaba Ramadan program, organized by the Office of the National Mosque under the auspices of the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Osman Nuhu Sharbutu, seeks to remind Muslims of the spiritual, moral, and social responsibilities of Ramadan. Organizers emphasized that the initiative is meant to inspire lasting piety beyond the holy month, fostering discipline, charity, and peaceful coexistence. The personnel assistant to the Chief Imam, Dr. Abubakar Mohammed Mazouk Azindo, explained that the program is part of structured activities to officially usher in Ramadan.
It is important for all of us to ensure that at the end of the fasting, we will not only acquire spiritual cleansing, we will also have a high level of behavioral refinery so that we will tell the whole world that we have moved totally from negativity to positivity.
The guest speaker, Mr. Ohun Casey, urged Muslims to purify their hearts, intensify prayers, and embrace unity, describing Ramadan as a training ground for lifelong righteousness. The director of the Hudai Foundation and financiers of the National Mosque, Mr. Ramzi Sika, announced plans to distribute 7,000 food packages to vulnerable families to support them throughout the fasting period and beyond.
We are targeting about 15 to 20,000 donations that we'll be doing from iftar to food packet distribution and sahur.
The event featured Ramadan Anashid, Islamic drama, and a quiz, all aimed at educating and uplifting participants ahead of the sacred month. Organizers noted that the Welcome Ramadan program will continue to serve as a platform to prepare the Muslim community and promote sustained piety beyond Ramadan.
Away from the Ramadan, the Ayawaso North Municipal Assembly has held a community engagement with residents of the Timber Market electoral area to educate them on the importance of paying property rates and business operating licenses.
The engagement is part of a project initiated by the Assembly to improve revenue mobilization and enhance community understanding of municipal tax obligations. The officials also introduced a new system known as the TO Code, designed to help landlords and business owners better understand and track their property and business tax responsibilities. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Christopher Kodiabo explained the processes involved in the new system and demonstrated how it would operate. He informed his residents that Assembly officials would be visiting homes and business premises to implement the system and encourage the public to cooperate fully. Residents were given the opportunity to ask questions, share their concerns, and seek clarification on the new measures. Community members appreciated the engagements and the clarity provided by the officials. At the end of the meeting, residents pledged their readiness to comply with the Assembly's officials and support the initiative when implementation begins.
The business news, health, sports, entertainment, and international news comes up shortly after this break. Do stay.
Business means seeing the possibilities and maximizing opportunities. Making sure you have a responsive support system backs your business goals. A partner that gives you a stable platform with reliable connectivity and seamless solutions, and better understands the tools required to take you to the next level. With so many moving parts in running a business, we do our best to provide you with some stability. The only kind of stability you can find with MTN Business Broadband, the fastest and most reliable internet provider in Ghana, making sure you stay ahead and stay connected, because we understand what makes your business tick.
Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh or call or WhatsApp 0244 308 111.
MTN. MedShay, natural mosquito repellent, highly recommended by Ministry of Health, CHAS and GES, lab tested by Noguchi Medical, field trialed by Atomic Energy Commission. It has no chemical or side effects and is good for all ages and skin type. MedShay is available nationwide. Contact us on 0244892413. This advert is approved by
Thanks for staying on. Still the news on GBC News and GTV and streaming live on our Facebook channels. On business front, the Ghana Cocoa Board has announced salary cut for its executive members, so 20% for the executive management of the company, while senior staff members have agreed to a 10% reduction in their salaries. The slash in salaries, which takes immediate effect, will cover the remainder of the 2025-2026 crop year. The move forms part of a cost-cutting measure to address challenges facing the cocoa industry. Also, management of Cocoa Board is rolling out staff rationalization exercise and prudent procurement measures to reduce overall expenditure and better align cost with revenue. Accra witnessed a moment of pride and reflection as the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority officially launched its 40th anniversary celebration, marking 4 decades of regulatory leadership, aviation safety, and institutional transformation. While civil aviation oversight in Ghana dates back to 1930, today the milestone represents more than just the passage of time. It reflects a journey of reform, resilience, and rising global credibility.
Aviation oversight in Ghana dates back to 1930. The authority attained full legal status in 1986 under PNDC Law 151. Today, that milestone represents more than just the passage of time. From modest beginnings to becoming one of Africa's respected aviation regulators, the authority's evolution mirrors Ghana's own aviation growth story. The anniversary comes at a defining moment for Ghana's aviation sector. Passenger numbers are climbing, route networks are expanding, regional connectivity is deepening. Behind that, growth lies the steady hand of regulation and the unwavering focus on safety. Director General Reverend Stephen Wilfred Arthur described the 40-year journey as one shaped by determination, innovation, and progress.
The dedication of all stakeholders of the authority has ensured that we have surmounted the challenges that we have faced, whether in the area of financing, equipment, technological upgrades, manpower, amongst others.
Board Chairman Simon Aloti reaffirmed the board's commitment to strengthening regulatory frameworks and enhancing operational standards across the aviation space. The Minister for Transport, Joseph Bukari Nikpe, commended the authority for safeguarding Ghana's skies and supporting national development through efficient and effective air transport regulation.
In addition to this, you can all witness for yourselves that the tremendous amount of policy and infrastructure investments at the Kotoka International Airport, including the ongoing construction of a new air traffic control tower, and also underway is the high priority projects to build a connecting concourse linking Terminal 2 to Terminal 3, and this is yet to ease up congestion during peak hours within the Terminal 3. And it is our belief that the Terminal 2 will be well positioned to serve both international and domestic passengers.
The 40th anniversary will be marked by year-long activities aimed at promoting industry growth, stakeholder collaboration, and aviation excellence.
In the Ashanti region, 228 selected youth have graduated from a 6-month skill training at the Kumasi Technical Institute.
The 6-month program was the initiative of Ascents and Art, the Design and Technology Institute, under its project dubbed Precision Quality Internship Graduation and Jobs, sponsored by MasterCard Foundation, was hosted at the Kumasi Technical Institute. The beneficiaries are mainly the youth who have passed through apprenticeship and lack the capital to start their own businesses to enable them engage others to reduce unemployment in the system. The General Manager of Ascents and Arts, the Design and Technology Institute, Bernice Gavo, said some of the beneficiaries have completed vocational programs with strong practical ability and desire to start their own enterprise, and also lacks access to mentorship and adequate capital required to translate skill into sustainable businesses.
It's not just about the graduation, because we've also brought the Jobs and Opportunities Fair to Kumasi. So right after the graduation, our interns get to come out here and pitch for jobs on the spot. We've invited students from all other institutions in Kumasi to also come and take part in this crucial program.
The Ashanti Regional Manager of TVET, Engineer Paul Adojimfi, said his outfit is ready to collaborate with institutions that are ready to assist in addressing the challenge of huge youth unemployment in the country.
I believe that these are the qualities, these are the job skills that the job market employers are looking for, and therefore as a TVET provider, the #1 TVET provider in Ghana and in sub-Saharan Africa, we need to take this program very serious.
Beneficiary of the program, Felix Owusu, shared his experience with GBC News.
With everything, if you are determined and then motivated, I think you'll be able to achieve whatever that you want to achieve. So I'll urge everyone out there that precision quality is real, and they offer you the skill needed for the industry. And fortunately enough, they also offer starter kits that you can use to start your own business.
The graduates received certificates and startup kits as well as capital to start their businesses.
We now have the performance of the local currency on the forex market, as well as prices of cocoa crude and light crude. to some energy news. The Nuclear Power Institute of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission has reiterated calls on Ghanaians to support efforts to establish a nuclear power plant in the country. The institute is encouraging the public to focus on the benefits of nuclear that offers rather than fears about the safety. In an exclusive interview, the director of the institute, Dr. Archibald Boa Kofi, stated that nuclear power provides significant multi-sectorial advantages and serves as a powerful economic driver capable of accelerating national development.
According to the director of the Nuclear Power Institute, Dr. Archibald Boa Kofi, the benefits to be derived from a nuclear power plant spread across many sectors. He cited some sectors in Ghana that are already using the technology.
We use nuclear in Ghana. If you take an X-ray, X-ray is a nuclear technique. Yeah. If you go to Kolebu, the radiotherapy center, they're using nuclear techniques to treat cancer. Automated machines, for example, failing. When they get to a certain point, it cuts and it moves, next bottle comes. A lot of industries, most of the equipment they use have radioactive sources in them that helps them do that. Those are nuclear techniques used in industry. If you come to Agric, if you go to one of our institutes called the Biotechnology Nuclear Agricultural Research Institute, they use nuclear techniques to help improve crop yield.
He said Ghana needs to commit to the nuclear power plant as an enabler that can turn the economy around.
It's a powerful tool that can transform economy, and it has transformed a lot of economies around the world. Follow the economic development of South Korea. Nuclear brings up a lot of other industries in its path, which produces and become more economically active than the power plant itself. So the power plant is just an enabler to activate the economy.
On whether or not nuclear is dangerous, Dr. Boa Kofi acknowledged its negative impact. He, however, said it depends on what the plant is established to do.
I think it's perception and fear. There is civil nuclear and there is military nuclear. International Atomic Energy Agency regulates peaceful uses of nuclear. The so-called strong countries, they also use it for military purposes. And that's where you talk about the weapon systems and all those things. If you declare that you are using it for peaceful purpose, then you cannot enrich beyond 20%. Once it goes beyond 20%, there is an ulterior motive. Nuclear is the most regulated industry in the world. The safety measures that you have to take or put in place for you to have a nuclear power plant supersedes what the airline industry has.
The institute said her doors are opened to the public seeking clarifications relating to her mandate and nuclear programs.
Welcome to the health segment of the news, brought to you by Yamvita and Trust Jehovah. Emergency health stakeholders are pushing for higher professional standards and stronger interagency coordination to improve service delivery. The call was made at the opening of the Batch 5 of the Military Emergency Medical Technician Training Program at the 37 Military Hospital in Accra.
The ceremony brought together personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces Health Service, the National Ambulance Service and other health sector stakeholders to deliberate on operational challenges affecting emergency medical delivery. Key among the issues discussed were response time, logistics, equipment deficits and coordination between agencies. Director of Policy, Planning, Research, Monitoring and Evaluation at the National Ambulance Service, Dr. Simon Nyaba, urged the trainees to see their role as a national responsibility that goes beyond routine duty. He stressed that discipline, integrity and respect for human life must remain central to their work.
Emergency medicine demands more than speed. It requires sound judgment under pressure, teamwork in chaotic environments, and compassion in moments of crisis. Through this training, you will acquire essential skills in trauma care, patient stabilization, evacuation procedures, first aid, and comprehensive pre-hospital emergency response. These are not merely technical competencies, they are life-saving responsibilities.
Emergency response is a critical link in healthcare delivery and requires seamless coordination between pre-hospital teams and receiving health facilities, and the expansion of emergency services must correspond with healthcare institutions to ensure continuity of care from the scene of incident to definitive treatment. The training forms part of ongoing efforts to strengthen Ghana's emergency response capacity and improve outcomes in both military and civilian operations.
In Koforidua, participants at a pre-conference organized by the Pediatric Society of Ghana have warned against prenatal exposure to heavy metals, which has been linked to significant impairment in children's neurodevelopment and cognitive abilities, which include delayed learning and memory deficit and other birth defects. This information is credited to a professor of chemical pathology at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, Professor Paul Osei Simpany.
The conference also brought to the fore issues that need urgent attention, especially issues such as the negative effects of galamsey, particularly on pregnant women and children, and to come up with measures that would help mitigate them. In recent years, Ghana has witnessed a significant increase in environmental health concerns, with rising rates of respiratory diseases, cancer, and other health issues affecting children. One of the key objectives of the conference is to examine the effects of air and water pollution on children's health, the impact of climate change on child health and well-being, and identify strategies to reduce exposure to environmental health risk and make recommendations for policymakers and stakeholders. A co-chair, Climate Change and Environmental Health Committee of the Pediatric Society, Dr. Sarah Johnson Atuna-J, spoke about the impact of the situation on children's health.
We are seeing as pediatricians, we are seeing children and adults with asthma attacks, right, and allergies. I don't know about you, but for me, just even in the last 5 days, I've had several friends come with sunburns, maybe you've been seeing, right, because of the heat from the sun. And so we know all of these things are affecting our bodies. And what I am so sad about is that here I've been coming and going to Ghana for almost 30 years. And what I'm so sad now that I see my age mates, right, in their 40s and 50s, that they are dying. They are dying from stroke.
A health specialist from UNICEF, Dr. Emmanuel Tremantin Amwa, spoke on the need to protect the health of children.
We know that children are more vulnerable, that is, they easily get affected by the things in the environment, the air that they are breathing in, the water that they are drinking, food that they are eating. If there are harmful substances in them, it impacts children. And we're looking at some of the chemicals that we have found recently on lead, cadmium, arsenic, and mercury. These things in the water body. We've also found some in some of the foods that are around that children are consuming. And what is striking and disturbing is that even when pregnant women take these foods and contaminated things from the environment, it affects the unborn baby who is in the womb. So it is a call for all of us to wake up and be mindful of what we are doing to the environment to ensure that we have healthy and safer environment for our children.
A pediatric nephrologist at the Children's Hospital, Philadelphia, Dr. Selassie Gokar, disclosed that environmental effects on kidney health from the womb results in preterm births and reduced nephron mass and leads to chronic kidney diseases. Heavy metals from the activities of illegal mining also lead to various health complications.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Amvita and Trust Jehovah. We have more news after this break. Do stay.
repellent, highly recommended by Ministry of Health, CHAS and GES, lab tested by Noguchi Medical, field trialed by Atomic Energy Commission. It has no chemical or side effects and is good for all ages and skin type. MedShea is available nationwide. Contact us on 0244892413. This advert is approved by FDA.
Thanks for staying on. On the foreign front, the United Nations has called on both the UN-backed government and the rival administration in Libya to undertake urgent reforms to protect the rights and dignity of migrants and refugees. In a new report published on Tuesday by the Human Rights Office and the UN Support Mission in Libya, it also called for a moratorium on the return of migrant boats to the country until human rights are ensured. It found that migrant refugees and asylum seekers in Libya are victims of systemic right violations and abuses.
The document denounces an exploitative model that preys on the heightened vulnerability of migrants and has become a brutal and normalized reality. Since the fall of dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, Libya has become a transit route across the Mediterranean to Europe for migrants fleeing conflict and poverty. The UN and international NGOs say the situation has fostered human trafficking and abuses against migrants, who have fallen victim in particular to extortion and slavery. The report, which paints a bleak picture of their conditions in Libya, identified 4 patterns of violations and abuses. These include everything from illegal and dangerous interceptions at sea to slavery and sexual and gender-based violence, as well as torture and enforced disappearance. The 2 UN agencies have argued that people arbitrarily detained in official and unofficial detention centers around 40 sites must be released immediately. According to them, by the end of 2025, nearly 5,000 people were held in official centers, but NGOs say they believe the real figure is much higher. The UN report is based on interviews with almost 100 migrants and refugees from 16 countries in Africa, the Middle East and South Asia.
The United States Embassy in Ghana has announced the release of more than 1,000 new interview appointments for B1, B2 visas, offering fresh opportunities for applicants seeking to travel to the USA for business or tourism. According to the information shared by the embassy, the newly available slots are for non-migrant visas and will become accessible within the coming week. The update was posted on the embassy's official social media platform, encouraging eligible applicants to secure interview dates. The additional appointment provide relief to many applicants who have faced extended waiting periods.
We have interview dates scheduled later in the year now have the option to move their appointments forward, while new applicants can begin the process sooner than expected. Officials urged prospective travelers to act quickly and use the embassy's official visa scheduling platform to book or adjust their appointments. The embassy signaled its readiness to process applicants more efficiently as part of efforts to address high demand. The expansion is expected to ease long-standing backlogs and supports Ghanaians planning to travel to the United States, particularly for business, tourism and family visits. Demand for U.S. visas in Ghana has remained consistently high, leading to delays in securing interview slots in recent years. The announcement comes shortly after the United States identified Ghana among several African countries affected by tighter immigration-related measures, including the suspension of certain immigrant visa processing. U.S. authorities said exemptions to those restrictions would be limited and subject to strict eligibility checks.
Despite those limitations on immigrant visas, the embassy has moved to increase availability for short-term travel visas. The timing also coincides with growing interest from travelers planning visits to the United States ahead of major international events, including the upcoming FIFA World Cup, which the country is set to host. The embassy has advised applicants to begin their visa process early, particularly those intending to travel for major events or time-sensitive purposes.
Let's do some sports. The Minister for Sports and Recreation, Mr. Kofi Adams, has met with the leadership of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, SWAG, for what he describes as an engaging and forward-looking discussion on the future of sports development in the country.
Brought together policymakers and sports journalists whose work continues to shape how Ghanaian sports stories are told, celebrated and preserved. Over the years, SWAG has played a key role in giving visibility to athletes and sporting institutions, both at home and on the international stage. The minister commended the association for its dedication and professionalism, noting that strong and responsible sports journalism remains vital to the growth of the sector. Discussions at the meeting focused on the Ghana Sports Fund, grassroots sports development, the need for improved infrastructure, and building capacity within sports media. The minister stressed that constructive journalism and collaboration among stakeholders are critical to repositioning sports as a meaningful driver of national development. For members of SWAG, the engagement was also personal, a reminder that their stories help inspire young athletes, spotlight emerging talent, and keep the nation connected to its sporting heroes and heroines. With a shared commitment to unity of purpose, both sides express optimism about strengthening Ghana's sports ecosystem for the benefit of young athletes and the country as a whole.
In entertainment, residents of the Ablekuma-Joma in Nsega West constituency of the Greater Accra region have begun activities ahead of this year's biennial Northern Festival under the theme Celebrating Our Heritage, Building Peace and Empowering the Youth Through Education for Inclusive Development in the North. The community is using culture and spirituality to promote unity, peace and youth development. Hear more on this report.
The atmosphere at Ablekuma-Joma was filled with culture and spirituality as residents gathered in preparation for the much-anticipated Northern Festival. The biennial celebration brings together people of Northern descent living in the Greater Accra region to reconnect with their roots and strengthen communal bonds. This year's theme focuses on celebrating heritage, building peace, and empowering the youth through education as a pathway to inclusive development in northern Ghana. There were also displays of rich northern culture through traditional attire, music and customs that reflect the diversity and identity of the people. A representative of the Yana of the Dagbon Kingdom, the Nantong Na, underscored the need for peace, unity and social cohesion as essential tools for sustainable development.
Festivals are the cornerstone of our identity, promoting cultural exchange, education, and national pride. Let us cherish these moments and draw inspirations from our heritage for our collective benefit.
Residents expressed optimism that the festival will not only strengthen cultural ties, but also promote harmony and development within Ablekuma-Joma and beyond.
That is all time will allow us for news at 7. My name is Mavis Ofechampon. Do join us at 10 for another news package. Till then, enjoy the rest of our programs. Good evening and thanks for watching.
He's not just any Kwame, he's Kwame the TV license legend. Kwame knows that by paying his TV license, he's supporting GBC, our public service broadcaster, and he's making a real difference. Kwame's contribution helps bring our communities closer together. Because of Kwame and others like him, we will all have access to amazing TV programs, educational content, plus broadcasting infrastructures are maintained and our culture is beautifully promoted. So GBC is asking all to respond to this civic obligation and pay your TV license fee. For individuals, it's 3 CDs per month or 36 CDs per year.